What are the language translators we have? So we have three kinds of language translators that will comprise of compilers, interpreters and assemblers. How the conversion will going to be happen in a compiler? So that compiler will going to take the entire program as an input. If you are going to compile it or if you are going to execute it separately, then there is no meaning. But I have to execute a complete proper program. Then it has to be linked properly. Hello everyone, welcome back to the second session on chapter 4, that is software concepts. I am Rohini TS from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So in the previous session of this chapter, we learned regarding what do you mean by software and what are the components of computer we have. That is what it includes: hardware, software, as well as the user, the person one who is working with a computer or a person one who is writing a program to the computer will be termed as a user. So that is what we learned in the introduction part of this chapter. Along with that, I have discussed regarding the types of a software, right? So how many types of software we have? That is of two types. One is what? System software, and another one is application software. And also I have discussed regarding the computer's language. So as we all know that computer understands only zeros and ones. So when it comes to the computer languages, we have two kinds. That is what? High level programming language and lower level programming language. So this is regarding higher level programming language. So in the lower level programming languages, there I have discussed regarding the machine level language, and also we learned regarding the assembly level language. So in the high level language, it can be specific purpose language or it can also be general purpose language. So there you have to understand what do you mean by machine level language and what do you mean by machine code, and what is assembly level language, what it comprises of, what are its advantage, disadvantage, then why we have moved from lower level language to higher level programming language. So in our today's session, we are going to learn regarding the language translators. That is what? As we all know that computer understands only zeros and ones. So if I am going to give the data or if I am going to give the commands in terms of symbols or any of the character, then how could computer understand? So somehow it is not possible. So that we have to make or we have to translate a higher level programming language or a assembly level programming language into machine understandable form. That's why we are going to require this language translator, and it includes assembler, compilers and interpreters. So in the system software, we are going to learn regarding this linkers and loaders along with utility software. So if you just have a look of that classification of a computer software, so it comprises of two types. One is system software and another one is application software. Right? So in the system software, that will going to comprises of linkers, loaders and language translators will be there, and it may includes operating system and also it includes the utility software. So in our today's session, we are going to learn regarding the language translator as well as the linkers and loaders and utility software. So now we'll see what do you mean by language translator and why we require this language translator in the computers. Language translator. So when I wanted to communicate with a computer or else when I want to give some commands to the computer, then we are going to use some of the programming languages. That can be what? A lower level programming language or a high level programming language. So in our current sessions or in our daily lives, we are going to use the higher level programming languages in order to communicate with a computer system. So why? Because that higher level programming languages will going to be very easy to understand and it will be easy to debug. That is what the reason we are going to use the higher level programming language. But as we all know that computer understands only zeros and ones. So whatever the commands or whatever the instructions that we are going to give to the computer system has to be converted into its understandable form. That is what? Zeros and ones. So we are going to call that as a binary language or a machine code or a machine level language. The language which is understood by the machine will be termed as machine level language. So that is what the reason we require the language translator. So it could be higher level language or an assembly level language that has to be converted into lower level language. That is what? Machine level code. Everything has to be in the zeros and ones. Then only computer will be able to process that data. That is why we require this language translator. So the translator that will going to translate the high level language into low level language. So when they are specifying this as a lower level language, that is nothing but what? Machine level language or a machine code. So then what are the language translators we have? So we have three kinds of language translators that will comprise of compilers, interpreters and assemblers. So these are the three types of language translators. So it includes assemblers, compilers as well as the interpreters. So before get to know regarding this, what do you mean by assembler, what is compiler and what is interpreter, first we must know. So what you are going to write as a program, then what it will be termed as. So what the computer understand, then what will be the thing or what will be the term that we are going to use. Okay. So here you have to concentrate on the two definition. One is what? Source code and another one is object code. So source code is nothing but what? A program which is written in a language other than the machine code. That means what? We are giving an instruction to the computer. That is, we are writing a program in a language which is not in the machine code. That means what? We are going to use, it can be either assembly level language or it can be of any of other higher level programming language. So by making use of English statement or by making use of some of the symbols, if we are writing a program instruction to the computer, then that kind of code will be termed as what? Source code. So source code is a programming or we are writing a set of instruction which will going to be written in a computer other than a machine level language or other than machine code. So typically we are going to use the higher level programming language or a high level language. That is what we are going to term that as a source code. Okay, so it will be in the higher level programming language or any English statement, but that cannot be understood by the computer. If it is must be understood by the computer, then we have to write a code which is in the machine understandable form. So that kind of code will be termed as what? Object code. So object code is a code which is produced by a compiler or assembler. So here object code is nothing but what? Which can machine understand or which can computer understand, so that whatever the code that you are going to write or whatever the code that will going to be generated by making use of this compiler and assembler will be in the terms of zeros and ones. So here what is object code then? It is a sequence of statements or an instruction in a machine language. If it is a machine language, then it will going to be termed as a lower level language, right? So and the computer understands only zeros and ones. So that understand two things here, what is source code and what is object code. Source code is a code which is written in a human readable form or which is written in a higher programming language. So object code is a code or a program which has been written in a machine code or which has been written in a machine understandable form. That is regarding source code and object code. So important for 1 mark question or can be asked together for the 2 mark question. What is source code and what is object code? So now we'll see regarding this assembler. So before getting to this assembler, already we have discussed regarding the assembly level programming language, right? So what do you mean by assembly level language then? So there we are going to use the symbols, characters, some special symbols we're going to use, right? That is what we are going to call that as a mnemonics. And it is also termed as what? Symbolic language. So when I'm writing any of the code or when I'm writing any of the instruction in an assembly level language or by making use of a special symbols, then we are going to term that as a assembly level code or a assembly level language. But computer couldn't understand that symbols and all, so that it has to be converted into machine understandable form. So that purpose we are going to require this language translator. So that assembler is a system software which will going to translate an assembly level language program into its machine language. So from what to what I am converting? I am converting this assembly level language program into machine level language or a machine understandable language. That is what the usage of this assembler. It is a system software. So who is using this system software? Are we using this system software? No. So it is used by the computer. So it is a built-in. It will going to be used by the computer itself. So in order to run the program or in order to use the application software or in order to make the hardware to run or to do the task as per the intention. So that is what the reason assembler is mainly used in order to convert an assembly level programming language into machine level language. That is what the reason of this assembler. Then what it will going to do this assembler? So it will going to recognize as the mnemonics. So mnemonics is nothing but what? Symbols that we are going to use in a program. Okay, that is set of instruction will be there. In that set of instruction, we are going to use the symbols that will be termed as mnemonics. So it will going to recognize as the mnemonics which is used in the assembly level language and substitutes the required machine code for each instruction. Already I have discussed an example regarding this assembly level language, right? There we are going to use STA and also we are going to use halt, and in order to print we are going to use PRT. So these are all the terms or these are all the symbols that we are going to use in a assembly level language, but computer cannot understand all these symbols or this mnemonics, so that all these values has to be converted into machine level language. That is what? Zeros and ones. So the translation of this assembly level language into equivalent machine level language will going to be performed by making use of this assembler. So assembler will going to do the conversion from assembly level language into machine understandable language. So here you can see that here we have a source code. Already I have told you that. What do you mean by source code? So source code is a program which has been written other than the machine level language. So that here it will going to have STA or else it will going to have add B and it can have HLT. Okay, these are all the example for source code. By making use of this assembler, so by making use of this assembler, this source code will going to be converted into machine code. So that will going to include opcode as well as the operand, right? So it comprises of both opcode and operand. So that is regarding what? Machine code. So whatever the source code is there in the assembly level language, that will be converted into machine level language or a machine code, that too with the help of this assembler. That is what the usage of assembler and why it will be used. Then what are the examples of assemblers we have? So we have TASM, that is ASM in the sense what? Assembler, and T is turbo, and MASM, that is Microsoft macro assembler, and FASM and NASM. These are the examples which comes under this assembler. So now we'll see regarding this compilers. So this assembler, compilers, interpreter, everything will going to be used as a language translator, so that it can going to convert any of the higher level programming languages or a assembly level languages into machine level language or a zeros and ones. So we'll see what do you mean by this compiler and what is the work of this compiler, how it will going to work. So compiler is a system software that will going to translate high level programming language. So high level programming language in the sense what? That is what? Source code that will be converted into machine level language. So that language will be termed as machine or object code. Source code is a code or a set of programming instruction that has been written in the higher level programming language. The programming code which has been written in the machine understandable form, then that will be termed as what? Object code or a machine code. So what is the usage of this compiler then? It will going to convert higher level programming languages into machine understandable form. So there, for the conversion, we are going to use the compilers. So we'll see, it will going to reach the whole program and translate the entire program at once into the series of machine level language instruction. So you have to understand one thing, consider this as a program, okay. So this program may comprise of 10 to 20 lines of code. Then what is the usage of this compiler? So consider it is what? Program, so that I can call this as a source code. So by making use of this compiler, it will going to compile or it will going to translate complete program or a whole program at once. It will going to scan the whole program at once and it will check for the syntax and semantics error. So is there any syntax error or a semantic errors in the program? So if there is any syntax and semantic errors, then it will going to give you the list of errors. So you have to correct all those errors. Then it has to be error free. So when it is error free, at that time, by making use of this compiler, that compiler will going to convert or that compiler will going to translate this complete source code into machine understandable form. That will be in the terms of zeros and ones. So that is what the usage of this compiler. Instead of taking single line of a code, it will going to compile or it will going to scan the complete program from top to bottom and directly it will going to translate that compiled program without any errors. Then that will be converted into machine understandable language. So first we have a source code, then by making use of this compiler, that will going to be converted into machine code. So if you see the example, here source code is high and compiler. By making use of this compiler, it will going to convert that source code into machine code. For high, 1001010011. This will be the machine equivalent code in the computer's memory. So once it is compiled, the program normally gets saved automatically and can be executed directly. So when I am going to compile that program from top to bottom, then it will going to be saved automatically. After that, if I want that program again, I can just open and I can just run that program. Then it will going to give us a desired result. So then this source code will going to be compiled and it by making use of this compiler, it will be translated into machine code or a machine understandable code. So this is regarding compiler. So now we'll see what do you mean by interpreter. So there is no much difference between compiler and interpreter. So as I discussed, program may comprise of any number of lines of code. Okay, so as my previous example, I have taken 10 to 20 lines of code. So there, compiler will going to compile the whole program at once. But this interpreter will going to scan each line and if there are any errors, then it will going to display. Otherwise, that single line will going to be converted into machine level language. That is what the difference between compiler and interpreter. So let me take one example to make you understand what is the difference between compiler and interpreter. Consider here I have 5 lines of code. So consider this as a compiler. And I have a same set of code that has to be translated into machine level language. But here I am going to use the interpreter. Okay. So in the compiler, it will going to compile the complete program at once. At once it will going to compile. Then if there is no error in the program, then it will going to be converted into machine understandable language. Okay. And then come to this interpreter. So interpreter is also a system software that has been used or that will be used to convert any of the higher level programming languages into machine understandable language. So both of the work are same regarding compiler and interpreter, but this interpreter work will be somehow different than this compiler. So first it will going to check this first line of a code. If there is no error in this code, then first line will going to be converted into machine understandable form. Then it will come to the next line and then it will going to check the errors, and if there is no errors, then it will going to be directly interpreted and that will going to be copied or that will going to be translated into machine understandable form. Okay, that is what the difference between this compiler and interpreter mainly that you have to remember. So an interpreter reads once a statement of a high level language program at a time, so that it will going to read one statement at a time, that is one line of a statement at a time in a program, and translate it into the machine level language and execute it immediately. Instead of compiling or instead of translating a whole program, whole source program into object code or a machine level language, it will going to take only single statement of a program, and that single statement has been checked. If there is a errors, then it will going to show that errors. Otherwise, it will going to just copy or just going to translate that source code into machine level code. That is what the difference between compiler and interpreter. So it continues to read, translate and execute the statement one by one until it reaches to the end of a program. This interpreter will going to read the first line and we can translate, and then that will going to be executed one by one, so that when it reaches to the end, then it will going to stop its translation from source code to object code. Then so that it has to take more time than the compiler. Why? Because instead of compiling or instead of translating a complete program at a once, it will going to just have a look regarding a single statement one by one, so that it will going to take much time, then it will going to be slower than this compiler. That is what the things that you have to remember regarding this interpreter. So the machine code produced by the interpreter is not saved, and so that to execute a statement again, it has to be interpreted again. So that when I'm going to do the conversion from higher level language into machine level language by making use of this interpreter, whatever the first line of that interpretation will not going to be saved. So if I wanted to execute it again, then it has to be saved, then it has to do the execution again. That is what the difference between compiler and interpreter. Then what are the examples which comes under this interpreter? So it includes a programming language called BASIC and Prolog, that is programming logarithm. So this is the example for this interpreter. So now we got to know what is assembler, what is compiler and what is interpreter. So now we'll see the difference between this compiler as well as the interpreter. So important question for 2 or 3 marks. What is the difference between compiler and interpreter? So we'll see now, it is compiler and this is interpreter. So how the conversion will going to be happen in a compiler? So that compiler will going to take the entire program as an input. But in this interpreter, it will going to take a single statement as a input. Then this intermediate object code is generated. So when I'm compiling that program, then the equivalent object code or a machine level language code will going to be generated, that too in the compiler. But in this interpreter, no intermediate object code is generated. I have to reach or I have to make a translation of all the lines from the beginning up to the end. Then only it will going to generate the code. That is the difference between compiler and interpreter. So here conditional control statements are executed faster. So why? Because it can be any number of codes in a compiler that will going to be faster than this interpreter. So in the compiler, it will going to make a compilation or a translation at a one stretch, but that cannot be possible in this interpreter. So that your conditional control statement are going to be executed slower than this compiler. Then memory requirement. So more memory space is required in this compiler. Why? Because it will going to generate the object code. That is what it will going to generate the intermediate object code. So that it requires more memory space than this interpreter. So memory requirement is less in this interpreter. What is the next difference? Program need not to be compiled every time. So once the compilation is done, then it will going to give you the errors. If there is any error, then that will going to be displayed on a screen. If there is no errors, then you can run the program without any interruption. So that is what the reason. No need to be compiled again and again. Once it is done, then no need to check for the errors or a bugs again. But here in the interpreter, every time higher level programming language is converted into lower level programming language, then only it will going to compile or it will going to show the translation from higher level programming languages into lower level or a machine understandable programming language. Then errors are displayed after the entire program is checked. As I told, once the compilation is over, it will going to generate syntax and semantic errors. Syntax and semantic errors are generated only by the compiler. It will going to show you the syntax and semantic errors that will going to be displayed after the compilation of an entire program. But in the interpreter, errors are displayed for every instruction which is going to be interpreted. So when I'm interpreting the particular statement of a program, then in the first statement, if there are any errors, then it will going to display. So if there is no errors, then it won't display. We will come with second line of a code. If there is any error in the second line of a code, then it will going to be display. But in this compiler, after compiling of a complete program from a first line to last line, then only it will going to shows the error. So in the interpreter, for each line, it will going to shows the error if there is any error. Otherwise, it will comes to the second line directly. Next is what? What is the example which comes under compiler? So it includes C compiler and interpreters are basic, Prolog. Okay, so basic and Prolog are the example for this interpreter. So this is regarding the language translator. So there you have to concentrate the definition of a language translator, and it comprises of assembler, compiler and interpreter. So all these are mainly used to convert higher level or assembly level languages into machine level language, and you have to understand the difference between compiler and interpreter. So now we are done with the first part of the system software, that is what? Language translator. So now we'll see what you mean by linkers and loaders. So as I discussed, so computer program or a programming does not contain a single line of a code. So if I wanted to get done my work, or if I wanted to do something with the computer system, then we have to write that command in terms of programming language. Then the programming languages will going to have a different parts. So as we discussed in the previous chapter, there we have a structure for any of the programming language. So if you consider a structure of C++ program, so it comprises of header files will be there, then main function will be there, and we are going to have the local variables and global variables, and set of statements will be there. At last we are going to do the execution of a program. That is what it will be comprises of what? Different modules. So this is what? Different modules of a complete program. So in order to make it complete, I have to link all the subset of a single parts of a program into bundle, so that then only I can get a complete program instead of having it as a piece of code, right? So then who is going to link all these different parts or all these different modules of a program one to another? That means what? I must get to know that yes, first we have to take the header files, then I have to take the global variables, then what? Local variable declaration, main function is there. So that is what we have to link each part of a program into a bundle of a code. So that will going to be done by this linkers. So you can see that a source program is written in the higher level language that may contains many number or a number of modules or a segments. So when we are writing a higher level programming languages, that may comprises of number of submodules, or that may comprises of number of modules or segments. Segment in the sense part wise it will going to have. So that in order to execute properly, the modules are to be linked. I cannot execute only header files, or else I cannot execute only local variables, or else I cannot execute only set of statement. Everything has to be grouped together. Everything has to be bundled together. Then who is going to make this work? That is what? Linker. So when we wanted to execute a complete program together as a complete modules or a complete segment, that means what? It has to be linked properly, so that the execution of the program is going to be sequential. So one segment will going to be executed, next it will come to the next segment, and it will goes on like that. When it reaches to the end of the execution, then it will going to give you the result. That is what the methodology of running a program. But then if we have a different segments, if we have a different modules in a single program, then it has to be linked properly in order to have a successful execution of a program. So this linker is nothing but this operation, that linking of a different modules or a different segment into a single bundle of a code will going to be done by this linker. So this operation is going to be performed by the software that will be termed as what? Linker. So linker is a system software that links or combines smaller programs to form a single program. So consider this is my one program, and this is my one module of a program, and this will be my another module of a program. But it consider this will be my second part, this will be first part, and this is third part. I cannot compile or I cannot run this program without what? Linking to each other. So if you are going to compile it or if you are going to execute it separately, then there is no meaning. But I have to execute a complete proper program. Then it has to be linked properly. So by making use of this linker, we are going to combine all modules or a sub-segments of a program into a single program. So that linker is a system software that will going to combines all the smaller program into one program. That is what the usage of having this linker. So this is regarding linker, and this is important question for 1 mark, and together it can be as for 2 marks. Define linker and loader. Important question for 1 and 2 marks. So now we'll see what do you mean by loader. So now you just understand one thing. I'm going to write a program, that is what source code we are going to write. So once I'm done with the writing of a program, then we have to compile it. So that means what? I have to convert that higher level programming languages into machine understandable language. That is what? Lower level language. If there is any error, then that will going to be specified on a screen. Then we have to debug it. Then we have to run the program without any errors. That is what the method we are going to use. Then where or who is going to load all these program or a segment of program into the computer's memory? So as we all know that if you wanted to execute something, or if you wanted to execute any part of a code or anything that you wanted to execute by the computer, then it has to be in the computer memory. So in the same way, if I wanted to execute my program, or if I wanted to execute set of instruction, then it has to be in the computer's memory. So first we have to link all the segments or all the submodules of a program in order to form a single program. Then that has to be loaded into the computer's memory. Then that loaded memory or that loaded program in a memory will going to be executed, or it will going to be run in a computer in order to get the intended result. so that loading of a source code into the computer memory will going to be performed by the loader. First we have to link all the segments together as a single program, then that has to be loaded to the computer memory, then only we are able to execute a program. So that we require loaders as well as the linkers. So without linkers we cannot have a single program. So then it could be what? The bunches of different modules or a segments. But if you are not loading that program into the computer's memory, then also we cannot execute a proper program. So that we require this linkers as well as the loaders. Once an executable program is generated, once we are done with a program which is error free, then someone has to load the program into the main memory of a computer. So we have to load that error free source code program into the computer's memory, then only we are able to execute that program. So this operation will going to be performed by a software, that is what? Loader. So loader is also a system software that will going to load the machine code of a program into the system memory, and it will going to prepare this program for the execution. It is not loading a source code. Why? Because before loading we have linked. In linked, we have compiled. Compiled in the sense, source program has been already converted into machine level language, right? By making use of a compiler, we have compiled or we have translated higher level programming languages into machine level language, so that it will going to load machine code or a machine understandable code into the first primary memory of a computer. Then only we will be able to execute this program. So this is regarding what? Linkers as well as the loaders. So what else is left out in the system software? So we have a utility software. That is what? Utility software. Then what do you mean by this utility? Why we are going to use this utilities? We'll see now. Utilities are those helpful in order to enhance the program or in order to assist the computer program. So that utilities are helpful program that will going to assist the computer by performing helpful functions. So what are the helpful functions that we can do to the computer? So that we can improve the efficiency of a memory. When there is no shortage of a memory, then the program will going to be executed in a faster manner. And if there is some malicious activities going inside the computer, that has to be notified. Then only we can rectify that and we can have a successful execution. So that, and we must have a security for the files and whatever the things that we have inside the computer as a digital statements or a digital document. For everything there must be a security. Okay, so that is what we are assisting the computer. So we are giving some security for the computer. That kind of software will going to be termed as utility software. So that utility softwares are the helpful program and that will going to assist to the computer by performing the helpful function. That function will going to be comprises of backing up the disk and scanning or cleaning the viruses. So if there is any errors or if there is any virus or any malicious activity which is going inside the computer system, then that has to be rectified and that has to be nulled. Okay, so then only we have a efficient work of a computer. That all going to be taken care by this utility software. Then this utility software is generally called as application oriented ready-made system programs. So these are all the ready-made system programs as per the requirements of a computer, as per the improvements or improving the efficiency of a computer, we are just going to have it. But it is a system software that is mainly meant for the computers, right? So it is not a what application software, it is a system software which is mainly meant for the usage of a computer system in order to improve the efficiency and performance of a computer system. So that it will going to assist the computer system by enhancing the functionality like backing up the disk and scanning or cleaning of the viruses. Then what is this utility software comprises of? Then what are the utility software examples? So this include text editor and backup utility, disk defragmenter. This antivirus software is an example for this utility software. So what this antivirus software will going to do? It will going to assist the computer system. So if there is any junk errors or any of the Trojan horse, is any malicious activities which is going inside the computer, then it will going to be rectified by this antivirus software. That is mainly we are going to use all these in order to improve the efficiency of a computer's performance. So this is regarding what? Utility software. So here you can see the configuration or a classification of a computer software. So it comprises of application software, system software. Already we are done with application software, and there will be two kinds, application specific or a specific application software, and we have a general purpose. This is special purpose and this is general purpose, and it got over. And in this system software, we got to know what do you mean by system software, and here we have a types of system software, right? Then we done with language translator. There I have discussed regarding the assembler, compiler as well as the interpreter, and also we have discussed regarding this utility software, and that comprises of antivirus and backup software, and also I have discussed regarding the loaders and linkers. Then we are left out with only this operating system. So in our next session, we are going to learn regarding what do you mean by operating system and what are the functions of operating system and how it has been classified. That is what related to types of operating system. So this is regarding my today's session. I hope you all understood with my today's session. Let me meet you in the next session with a continuation of this chapter itself. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.